The hospital was a labyrinth of fluorescent hums and elongated shadows, a place where the air felt thick with the sterile scent of antiseptic and the weight of weary souls. Through these corridors moved Charles Cullen. He did not possess the jagged edges of a cinematic monster. Instead, he was a man defined by slumped shoulders and a face etched with the exhaustion of 1,000 graveyard shifts. He was a good nurse, the one who volunteered for the hours nobody else wanted, the deep, silent stretch of night where the line between life and the afterworld grows thin enough to breathe through. Charles stepped quietly into the room of Mr. Abraham. The elderly man lay submerged in sleep, his presence marked only by the rhythmic, mechanical chirp of the heart monitor. Charles didn't check the floor for blockages or adjust the pillows. Instead, he reached into his pocket and produced a small vial. The label, caught in the dim light of the bedside lamp, read Digoxin. "It's okay, Abraham," Charles whispered, his voice a chillingly soft caress. "The noise is going to stop soon. I'm taking the burden away." He wasn't fueled by conventional rage. In his distorted mind, he was a practitioner of a terrifying mercy, believing himself the only one brave enough to extinguish the light when the world refused to. He spiked the forebag. As the clear liquid began its slow, rhythmic descent down the tubing like a burning fuse, the atmosphere in the room shifted. To understand the horror of that moment is to understand the molecular betrayal occurring within Abraham's veins. Digoxin is a fickle mistress of medicine. In precise doses, it strengthens a failing heart, but in the hands of Cullen, it became a microscopic assassin. Inside Abraham's body, the drug surged toward the heart's myocytes, ruthlessly inhibiting the sodium-potassium ADPase pump. The biological fallout was instantaneous. With the pump disabled, sodium became trapped inside the cells, forcing the sodium-calcium exchanger into a frantic reverse gear. Calcium flooded the heart muscle. The heart did not stop because it was weak. It stopped because it was too excited. It was a biological riot. Mr. Abraham's eyes snapped open, but there was no peace in them. He began to gasp, his body stiffening as his heart entered ventricular fibrillation. The muscle quivered in a chaotic, useless frenzy, unable to pump a single drop of blood. Charles stood perfectly still, a calm conductor watching the monitor's jagged lines turn into a frantic scribble, unmoved by the man's silent plea for air. Days later, the sterile order of Somerset Medical Center began to fracture. Amy Luffrin, a fellow nurse and Charles's closest confidant, sat at the station huddled over lab reports, her brow furrowed in confusion. "Charlie, look at these digoxin levels," Amy said, her voice trembling with the first seeds of suspicion. This shouldn't be possible. Abraham wasn't even prescribed this. For a flickering second, the mask of the tired, humble nurse slipped. A cold, sharp intelligence glinted in Charles's eyes, a look that didn't belong on a healer. "Mistakes happen in a place like this, Amy," he replied flatly. "People are overworked. Systems fail." The system didn't fail, Amy realized, though she didn't say it aloud. Someone gamed it. The power shifted in that instant. The man Amy had leaned on for emotional support was suddenly a stranger, a predator hiding in the light. Soon, the roles reversed entirely. Amy became the hunter, sitting in a dark interrogation room wearing a wire, preparing to face the angel she once called a friend. They met at a local diner, while rain hammered against the windows, blurring the world outside. Amy looked across the booth, her voice barely a whisper. "Charlie, I know what you did at Somerset. I know what you did at the other hospitals. Just tell me why. If you tell me, I can help you." Charles leaned in, his voice as cold as the storm outside. "I wanted to help them, Amy. You saw how they suffered. The doctors, they just keep them alive because they're afraid to let go. I wasn't afraid." "You weren't a savior, Charlie," Amy countered, her grief turning into a hard, cold resolve. "You were a thief. You stole their last goodbyes." Charles Cullen eventually confessed to 40 murders, though the grim reality likely reached into the hundreds, a decade of slaughter maintained by institutional silence, and a man who confused murder with salvation. Today, Charles stares at a small patch of sky from a prison yard, serving 11 consecutive life terms. His story remains a haunting testament to the fact that the most dangerous monsters don't always hide in the dark. Sometimes, they offer you a glass of water and a gentle smile. It serves as a final, powerful lesson. Complacency is the accomplice of evil. When we prioritize the reputation of an institution over the sanctity of human life, we create the very shadows where predators thrive. Vigilance is not merely a policy. It is the highest form of compassion.